when a sitting congressman moves to subpoena a top FCC official over what he calls the largest assault on free speech in modern history, you know something's boiling beneath the surface. Khanna just accused the Trump administration of weaponizing federal power to silence critics and even comedians after Jimmy Kimmel's suspension. But this isn't just about Kimmel. It's about how political power and corporate pressure are merging to decide who gets to speak and who gets silenced in America.
Recognizes Mr. Khanna from California.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chairman, this administration has initiated the largest assault on the First Amendment and free speech in modern history. They're making comedy illegal. Brendan Carr pressured ABC to cancel Jimmy Kimmel, and Disney cancels Jimmy Kimmel. This canceling from an administration that lectured us about cancel culture. That's why today I'm introducing a motion to subpoena Brendan Carr, to bring him in front of this committee, to stop the intimidation of private businesses and to stand up for the First Amendment. Now, it's not just Brendan Carr. Attorney General Pram Bondi is prosecuting hate speech, even though hate speech is constitutionally protected. And even though we've had so many lectures from my friends on the other side of the aisle not to prosecute hate speech. And then what about our vice president, the champion of free speech, as he told us during the campaign? The vice president is telling Americans to snitch on fellow Americans who have offensive posts and to call their employers so they can be fired. And the vice president is threatening to prosecute political organizations that he disagrees with. Look, we are Article 1 of the Constitution, not footlackeys for Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. It is time that we stand up for our constitutional role to defend the freedoms of Americans. People are tired of us just giving our power to Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. We have an obligation to our Constitution, not to Donald Trump and J.D. Vance as they ride roughshod over the First Amendment. So in the name of all those who are being censored in Washington, D.C. and around the country, in the name of all those who are being intimidated in Washington, D.C. and around the country, in the name of Americans, Republicans, Independents, and Democrats who believe in the First Amendment and free speech, I motion today to subpoena Brendan Carr and to have him explain to the American people why he's bullying private individuals and private businesses. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Pursuant to this rule, and I'll get the exact language so we make it official. Pursuant to House Rule 11, Clause 2.6, I motion to subpoena Brendan Carr to come before this committee and testify in front of the full Oversight Committee, and I hope that my motion to subpoena him will be voted on as soon as possible.
A motion is made. The committee will hold this motion in abeyance until 1:45. Give everybody time to get back in here.
Thank you.
And if I might say,
yes, sir.
I know Brendan Carr well, and
Mr. Chair, I hope you'll have him come in.
I think we could do that. I
appreciate that, sir.
We could. I don't think the motion's necessary, but I think he would. I'm pretty confident he would be willing to come in to testify. So
well, thank you.
I'll just say that. I don't think the motion's necessary. You want to withdraw the motion?
I still want the motions. All right. Well,
right.
You know, we'll do it,
Okay.
and he can come in. But I'd appreciate. You know, I've appreciated your working with our ranking member on Epstein, and I've appreciated your collaboration with him. Of course, I appreciate our ranking member's leadership on this issue, and he deserves a lot of credit for our subpoena today. But you know, if you want to work with our ranking member on a collaborative process on that, like you have been on Epstein, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, thank
I'd
you.
also like to second the motion.
Thank you, Congresswoman. And yeah, first of all, thank you, Representative Khanna. And you know, Mr. Chairman, I think that's a great offer. I think we're very interested in what's happening, and if we could come to an agreement, I know we have another 30 minutes or so before we actually take this vote, but if we can come to an agreement prior to that, I'd like to talk to Mr. Khanna and to you because I think our goal, and clearly yours, is to get him in front of this committee. I think it would be very productive.
And I think he would want to come. Well, nobody wants to come in front of the committee, but I think he would be willing to come in front of the committee. So
I think we have.
We'll make sure our staffs are in communication, and we'll see. But your motion is recognized, and we'll see if we can come up with something before 1:45. If we can't, we'll vote on it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Let's be real. Khanna just drew a line in the sand. His motion to subpoena FCC Chairman Brendan Carr isn't just a procedural move, it's a statement against what he calls state-sponsored censorship. The accusation is explosive that a sitting FCC chair pressured a private network, ABC, owned by Disney, to cancel Jimmy Kimmel's show over politically charged content. Now, whether you love or hate Kimmel's comedy, that's not the point. The point is, when government officials can intimidate private platforms into silencing voices, comedy becomes the canary in the coal mine for democracy. Humor is often the last outlet a society has to confront power. When that goes silent, it's not just late-night television that's under threat, it's public dissent itself. Khanna, who's often been a bridge between progressives and moderates, flipped the narrative here. He turned the cancel culture debate, something conservatives have used for years to bash liberals, right back at the Trump administration. His message was clear: you can't claim to defend free speech while weaponizing government agencies against your critics. And he didn't stop there. He went after Attorney General Pam Bondi for allegedly prosecuting so-called hate speech, something that, as Khanna reminded everyone, is constitutionally protected. That's a direct challenge to both political hypocrisy and the growing bipartisan consensus that offensive speech should somehow be criminalized. But here's the real takeaway. Khanna's motion signals frustration with a Congress that has surrendered too much authority to executive power, whether under Democrats or Republicans. When he said, "We are Article 1, not lackeys for Donald Trump and J.D. Vance," that wasn't just rhetoric. That was a constitutional reminder that the legislature is supposed to check the executive, not kneel before it. Even more interesting was how the committee responded. The chair tried to calm things down, suggesting Brendan Carr would come in voluntarily. That alone says a lot. If a top communications regulator can be called before Congress over allegations of speech suppression, we're watching a live struggle over who controls public discourse in America: elected representatives or unelected bureaucrats and corporate executives. At its core, this isn't a left versus right issue. It's about the creeping normalization of political interference in speech, whether through the government, through corporate boards, or through the culture of fear that makes everyone second-guess what they can say. And that's what Left Lens has been warning about. That censorship, once justified in the name of protecting the public, almost always ends up protecting the powerful. So when Khanna says, it's time we stand up for our constitutional role, he's not just talking to Congress, he's talking to every American who's watched our speech rights erode under the weight of partisanship, profit, and propaganda. If this motion succeeds, it could drag some uncomfortable truths into the light. Who decides what speech is acceptable? And how deep the political interference has gone inside America's communication networks? Because once speech is regulated by fear, whether it's comedians, journalists, or politicians, democracy itself becomes performance theater. And that's no laughing matter. If you believe speech should never be hostage to politics, make sure you hit that like button, share this commentary, and subscribe to Left Lens, because we're not just analyzing what's happening, we're exposing what it means.